And if you know me, you know first of all that I am a huge sucker for movies in general. Mark likes to make fun of me all the time because I just love movies so much. But here, I'm gonna turn this on. Stopwatch. There we go. This will keep me on track with time. Um, yeah, I am. I'm a huge sucker for movies. If you know this, if you know me, you know this about me. But what also people don't maybe necessarily know is that I am a huge sucker for romantic movies. I love romantic movies, and I think, to be honest, like no matter who you are or where you're at, I think genuinely, I think generally, people like the idea of love. People like the concept of love, or maybe it's having a girlfriend one day or having a boyfriend one day. Maybe it's being married. You could enjoy the idea of having a husband or a wife, or going on dates. Sounds sweet to you. I don't know about you, but for me personally, I love the idea of love, and I'm a sucker for romance. And, for me, my favorite romantic movie, I think I shared this, is The Notebook. I love The Notebook. Honestly, I just need to confess with you guys, when I watch The Notebook, that movie will mess me up. Okay, I will watch The Notebook, and I will go. I have to be careful if I watch it, because I'll go like a couple days, and I'll still be like going through it. Like, that movie will do some things in me emotionally. Well, I will watch The Notebook, and afterwards I'll be like, man, man, he just wanted to be with her, like I'm like losing it. I think one of the things that I love about The Notebook, I love the pursuit element. Noah's pursuing Allie, and I love there's like some drama in there, which I don't love, but that's part of life sometimes. And then at the end, like they get to be together, and then they're cute, like they're old, and she's like reading to her, and it's like, oh, it's too much. But I think there's this part of The Notebook that we can all relate to, and it's this, like, about halfway through the movie, she has to move away, and there's like some distance, and Noah is the male character in this movie, and he writes love letters to Allie. And he's like still wanting to engage with her, he's still wanting to pursue her, even though there's distance. He starts writing these letters. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever written a letter. It's probably not a lot of you guys, but letters are kind of outdated, but I love letters, and I even especially maybe love letters. I love letters. Anyways, he writes these letters to her. And the story's kind of going on. He's writing these letters, and he's still pursuing her even though she's far away. And eventually, he starts to get discouraged because she's not replying. And later on in the movie, you come to find that she never even got any of the letters, right? Like, who's ever seen the movie? You know this. You know that she never actually got the letters because there was somebody in the plot of the movie who was actually intercepting those letters and was not letting them get to her. And so she never got the letters, and so she was never, like, responding. And he was starting to get discouraged. And I was just thinking, like, man, isn't that relatable? Isn't it relatable? You and I don't know if you knew this, but you and I were created for the love of God. I don't know if you knew that. If you didn't, I'll be the first to tell you, you were made for God's love. He designed you for himself. And then he goes the extra mile, and he begins to express himself through imagery, through these metaphors and through these images, and he begins to invite you and I into relationship, which is made out of love. He begins to invite you and I into love through different images. What are some images, Jake? Well, one of them is as a father. Whoever's heard that, you know that God invites us to call him Father. Totally awesome. God also invites you and I to call him friend, to be his friend. So God invites you and I to call him Father. That makes us sons and daughters. He invites you and I to call him friend. Another image here is that God invites you and I to call him husband. Husband. If that's a little strange for you, a little difficult for you, it's okay. I know for me when I was growing up, like that was kind of like, well, hang on a second though, because like I'm a guy, and you know, for me to have a husband, that feels kind of strange. Like I'm not sure why. I'm confused. Like, how does that work? Basically, the Bible just outlines that God is so in love with you and I. He's so in love with his people, with humanity, his creation, the people on the earth. He's so in love with us that he pursues us like a man pursues a woman, and he lays himself down, and he even sometimes he jumps through hoops because he just wants to get our attention, and he wants us to love him back. He's pursuing us. And he's earnestly aching, longing, and desiring for you and I to respond in love to him in the same way that he loves us. God loves us like a husband or a man loves a woman. It's all throughout the Bible. He invites us to call him husband. Now, I think this is really powerful. When you and I begin to if we can grasp that the same, okay, I need you to just pause wherever you're at. And I need you to hear me. If you have ever felt the feelings of a crush, okay. If you've ever felt the feelings of a crush, and maybe you haven't, you know, like you just, it hasn't been somebody that's come along that just made you like googly-eyed, that's all right. But there are other images for connecting with God. And this message will still ring true. But if you've ever felt the feelings on the inside that's just like makes your face go red, your palms get sweaty, you start breathing a little bit, you're like, oh, I care a lot about what they think, okay? I don't know what to do, but when they're around, I lose it, right? Like, I'm struggling over here. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know that is God put that in you and put it in me. And we are designed to feel that way about certain people at certain times. Now, sometimes crushes aren't good, right? But nonetheless, like if it's, you know, it's not a good thing. Just because you feel those feelings doesn't mean you're supposed to run out at 100%. But those feelings inside you and I are an image of what we were actually created for, which is him. And in the past, you know, if you've been with us for a little while, you've heard me preach this message that until you experience the love of God, your heart, your soul, the inside of you, your experience day to day with fear, anxiety, depression, pride, you know, no matter what it is, the sin things, the problems that you're facing, that you're trying to get rid of, all that stuff, you'll never actually find resolve. You won't find relief until you find it in him. Because it's what you were made for. You know, it just wouldn't make any sense for you to find it somewhere else. It's what you were made for. And I've preached that message before, that you were made for the love of God. Well, today, the message that I want to come and appeal to you guys with is this: that Jesus is so in love with you. He's so beside himself for you that he would actually he would spend all of his resources, say it's money, right? He would spend all of his money, and he would spend every last ounce of effort, or you know, he would give every last drop or bit, or you know, anything that he has. He's so in love with you that he would spare no expense on the chance that you would say yes to him back. on the chance that you would respond in love. It's crazy. It's radical, and it kind of doesn't make sense, and it's really not supposed to make sense. God is so in love with me. You know, John 3:16. Who has ever heard John 3:16? It's a pretty famous verse. It goes like this. It says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only son, his only begotten son." God, the God, was so in love and so infatuated. He was so overwhelmed and consumed with love for people. And I would respond and say, yes, we'll pause. That verse says, "For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whoever, like any, whoever might believe in him would be with him for eternity, would not perish, but have everlasting life." God's ultimate goal, his hope, his design was to be with us forever. And that's what it was like in the garden, and then Adam messed it up, and Jesus came back, he restored it, gave us the chance once again to choose him and to be with him forever. Whoever. I mean, you gotta catch this. I don't want you guys to miss this. God spent there's a quote that I love. It says that God bankrupt heaven because Jesus was everything. Jesus is everything, and he spent Jesus, right? Jesus spent himself. God bankrupt heaven with no guarantee that we would even say yes. This is how much he loves you and I. This is how much he loves you and I. Now, the title of this message, I know it's just like halfway through or worse to be given a title, which I understand, but the title of this message is responding in love to God. Or you could say it like this, you could say falling in love with God. Falling in love with him. The way to fall in love with God is to see, even for a second, how much he adores you. How much he adores you. If you get just a glimpse of how much he loves you, then as a response, you go, man, I wanna maybe say yes, or maybe even maybe just consider it. I'm gonna share some verses with you guys. Tonight really is just it's this message, this heart, this cry for you all is just this is an invitation. Everybody, wherever you're at, I want you to say invitation. This is an invitation to more. Well, Jake, what do you mean? What do you mean more? Well, maybe you kind of know God, or you've heard about him, you've been to church, and you're kind of like, I don't really know God. I don't know much about him. I haven't really read the Bible. I don't know God super well, and that's just kind of where I'm at. But God is saying, hey, here's my invitation. And in that case, because we're talking about romance, we're talking about God's overwhelming, all-consuming love for you and I. In that case, he's saying, hey, let's hang out sometime. We've never hung out before, really, just you and I. We hung out at church. We were at group settings, and we're over here maybe. We got to hang out with some friends, but I want to hang out with you. I would love to just let's go mini golfing. You're like, oh, Jake, I can't go mini golfing. Well, maybe, what do you like to do? Let's play some video games. I like video games. If you like video games, what's up? I like shopping at the mall. if she's cute and I want to be, I want to pursue her, maybe I want to court her, and I'm thinking about dating this girl. Like, I don't like shopping, but if you like shopping, I like shopping. There's a quote in the Notebook, since we were on that topic before. He goes, hey, if you're a bird, I'm a bird, because I just want to be you. I just want to be like you. I just want to be wherever you're at. God's the same way with you and I. And I feel like tonight there's a burning thing in my heart. I got to commission you guys. I got to present it before you, that God has an invitation. It's an outstretched hand to say, hey, want to hang out sometime? You want to, I just love to, we can kick it, Let's have some fun. No, whatever you like to do. I'll do whatever you want to do, God just wants to hang out. Now, that's for some of us, and I feel really, to be honest, that really could well be for all of us. God's just inviting, He's extending an invitation. Who's seen Aladdin? Seen the movie Aladdin? Put your hand up, please. You seen Aladdin? Yeah, so in the movie Aladdin, think about this. I don't know why, but I've had this image going through my head the whole time I was preparing this sermon. When Aladdin's he's trying to woo Jasmine, and he's like, hey, what's up, girl? You look good. I just want to be your friend, but not really your friend. I want to date you. But he's like, hey, how's it going? And he's trying to woo her, remember? And then she pushes him, and he falls off the balcony, and the rug catches him, and she's like, oh my gosh, you got a magic carpet. And he floats up, and then he has that moment, and he invites her, hey, come on a journey with me. And he puts his hand down, you remember? He says, come on a journey with me. I feel like God has his hand out. He says, come on a journey with me. And to be honest with you, I think the hesitation for you, I don't know, it is definitely for me, is it makes me a little nervous. I'm like, gosh, shoot, I don't know if I've ever been loved like this before. And it's kind of scary. I'm kind of nervous about it, to be honest, because, how do I know you're not going to let me down? Or, how do I know, how do I know that I'm ready for this? I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know how serious I am. That's okay. Just relax. Okay. Just hang out with him, maybe. Let him woo you. He's had his hand out, and he says, let's hang out sometime. Come on this journey with me. And then he says these words. You ready? Do you trust me? Do you trust me? Presence Youth, do you trust him? For some of us, it's a first date. He's inviting us into spending some time with him. He wants to woo us. There's actually a verse, it's a favorite of mine. It's from Hosea. I had it written on a different page. And Hosea is the story where there's this prophet, and God calls this prophet, this man of God, this guy who, sometimes prophets were called to be a representation of God to the people. And so they would live a life, and God would ask them to do certain things to say hey, you're going to be like an image. And as you do this, it's going to be just like what I'm trying to do with my people. And so God calls Hosea. He says, I want you to go out, and I want you to pursue a woman, and I want you to make her your wife. And she is not living for me, right? She is living in sin, and she is being with other guys, and she's not a faithful wife, but I want you to be with her. I want you to choose her and make her your wife. And no matter what she does, you're going to go back, and you're going to pursue her again. And you're going to pursue her again. You're going to pursue her again. And so I just want you guys to know, even if, as I'm preaching this message, you're like, well, Jake, God's got his hand out, but he doesn't know, or maybe you don't know, you don't know what I've been through or what I've done. I hear you, but you don't know me, and I don't think God really would want to be with me if he knew, Let me tell you, we'll set it straight right now, really just lay it out. He knows. And your past, present, or future do not faze him in his decision. and his commitment, his desire for you. His desire for you is overwhelming. It's full and it's bubbling out. God's desire for you is unfazed by your past, your present, or your future. And even after this woman that Hosea pursued was like still rebelling or like not saying yes and was like living in sin, God says, I want you to go and pursue her. And he says, it's just kind of like this. I want to call my people. This is for us. He says, I want to call them out into the wilderness so that I might speak tenderly to them. I desire to woo them. The wilderness for us is like I want to draw them away from the crowds. I love spending time with them at church maybe or at youth group, but I want to draw them out to a place where they're secluded and it's just me and them, and I want to speak tenderly to them. I want to woo them. I want to win their heart. He wants to win my heart. He wants to win my heart. He wants to win our hearts. If you've been walking with God for a little bit, and I'm going to land the plane, we'll wrap this sermon up right here with this last thought. If you've been walking with God for a bit, and you're like, I think I spend some time with him as is. Like, I like spending time with God, or maybe, it's not always easy, but, I do spend some time with him. I felt like there's this burning sense in me it was a two-part message. The first part was an invitation. What did I say the title was? Is an invitation to more. It's falling in love with him. In part, there's an invitation to more, and that could just be the start. Come on, Isaac Callaway. This could be the start of something. Okay, don't judge me. High School Musical, this could be the start of something new. He's inviting some of us into the start of something new. And I feel for others, and this is the one that really I've been on my knees. I've been on my knees all week. Because I feel like he's calling me into more. And what that means is, if you're dating somebody and the relationship grows and it progresses, then pretty soon you say, I don't just want to date this person. I don't just want to date him. I just want to just call him boyfriend. I don't want to just call him girlfriend. I think I want to make a decision. I want to say yes. I want to follow Jesus. I want to say yes with my life. I want to give my life. I want to surrender it all. I want to say yes. And that's just like an image of marriage. When you say yes at the altar, you say yes. I want to follow you. I want to be with you. I want to walk with you. For better or for worse, till death do we part, except we don't die. Till death do we part. That means we never part. That means I want to say yes forever. Well, I want to say yes in that kind of a way. And then even as you're married and the natural, people still find new areas and new ways to go, man, I want to choose you instead of me. I want to say yes to you instead of me. And it's the same way for us as Christians. As we walk with God, we've already said yes to him, but he's calling us into more. And so we say, I want to say yes to you in new ways. And I didn't even know about these ways before, but I'm starting to become aware of these things, and you're inviting me to surrender. And it's not easy. It's difficult. I'm having to lay my own self down, my own desires down, and say yes to you. But man, aren't you the love of my life? Don't I love you? Don't you love me? This thing is, we're in this thing, and I don't see any other way, and you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And God invites us into greater degrees of surrender, and I really felt for you and I, Presence Youth, I've been sitting on this message for a while, and my heart is aching to share this with you. I believe that God is inviting you into more, and more looks like surrender. It looks like surrender. And you might go, well, Jake, that's a big ask. Like, you're asking for surrender. man, like, I mean, I'm not even sure how serious I am about this. Okay, that's all right. What did I say in the beginning? You might be in the place where God's just still wooing you. But I believe if you're hearing my words right now and your heart's feeling convicted of that thing, that area that you've kept reserved from him, that area that he's maybe tugged on, hey, I want all of you. If you're feeling that tug, this is for you. Jesus invites surrender all the way, because he surrendered in a way, all the way. Jesus asks us to be all the way in. And it's not unfair, because he's all the way in. If you had somebody propose to you, they got down on one knee, even if you're a guy and it was a girl got down on one knee, I don't know, who cares? If you were in that moment, somebody got down on one knee and they said, hey, I think I want to marry you. I think I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Like, what would you say? And these would be the terms, maybe, you and I, we could, to death do we part, we'll go all the way in, we'll be married, husband and wife, happily ever after, and we'll live in a house and have kids maybe, and be awesome, like we could do all the way in. And here are the conditions. My terms are, you can have me 364 days out of the year. But on that one day, I get to do whatever I want and maybe go find like a girlfriend for the day or a boyfriend for the day. Like, I get to do my own thing and not be with you, not be your husband or your wife, not be faithful to you, just for that one day. How's that sound? Now, if you're like me, I hear that and I would go, what? No. What? No. No. Marriage is we're all in. No. I don't want anybody else. I want all in. I want you to be all in. And guys, I feel there's this thing in us that knows innately in our hearts that in a marriage, that person is deserving of real faithfulness, committed faithfulness that's all the way in. And in a relationship with God, it's the same way. He's inviting us into no secret areas, none of that. He's saying, I love you and I'm safe. Trust me. Come on this adventure with me. I want to love you. I want to do life with you. I want to woo you time and time again, not just on the first date or the second date. I want to woo you every day. I want to show you my love. I want to express my love to you. And I want to pursue you with all my heart. This is the invitation. And I hope you guys will say yes. We're going to pray, and then Mark is going to invite us into singing a song. And the song is just about having a desire for God. And so you can it's only going to be like a 6-minute song or so. So please don't, tune out or step away or anything like that. Just take a second and sit with God and allow him to woo you, allow him to invite you into relationship with him. Jesus, I just ask, I ask that you, God, will make yourself tangibly real to us. God, I ask that God, I ask that we would catch a glimpse of your affection, of your devotion. Jesus, just for a second, God, we just want to see the glimmer in your eye. Like a husband or a man in love sitting across from his first date, sitting across from the fancy table and the candles on the first date, and the glimmer in his eye, and he can't even contain it, and his face is red and his heart's pounding. He's just so happy. Oh my gosh, I just hope that he says yes. I hope that she says yes. God, I pray that we would see the glimmer in your eye, and we would see how passionately excited about each one of us you are. And Jesus, I ask that that we might be so stirred to say yes, to respond and say yes. And so, like I said, guys, just a quick 6-minute song, and then we'll jump off, okay?